In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new rainbow loom baseball bracelet. So I'm going to be showing you how to do it using just one loom, but if you do own two looms, you can connect them end to end, and that way you can make a bracelet that will fit most of the way around your wrist. So with one loom, you're definitely going to have to add extensions, and I'll show you how to do that at the end. You want to have your loom with the pins set up in a staggered position so that they are not in line with one another. And to start, you're going to have the arrows facing towards you. With one loom, you will be able to make 3 baseballs, and if you have 2 looms, you'll be able to make 6. So for each baseball, you're going to need 2 red bands, and then you'll need 15 white bands. So I have 3 sets of those. And then for your background color, I've chosen black. You can choose whatever color you'd like. And you will need 90 bands of that color. And then you will need an additional probably 8 to 10 bands for the extension. The first thing that we're going to do is place the baseballs on the loom. So if you start in that center row and you go to that second pin up, that is going to be the bottom of the first baseball, and it's going to be in this circular pattern. So what we want to do is take a red band, put it on your hook, twist, and put it back on to double it, and then it's going to go around this pin and then these 2 pins as well in the next row up. So you're going to stretch it across. And then it also has to go over this end pin. So that is what it's going to look like. And then we're going to take the second red band, put it on your hook again, twist, place it back on to double it. And this time we're going to move to the next pin over, and this is going to go around the other half of the baseball. So it's going to go from this top pin here on the left all the way down to the right. And then it also has to go over this end pin. So that is what that will look like, and you want to push it down. And then we're going to start with the white bands. So we're also going to double these first 3 white bands. So you place it on your hook and wrap it around a second time. We're going to start in this center row, and it's going to stretch all the way across that middle pin and all the way to the other end. And then you want to move up in a clockwise direction. You're going to double this next white band. You're going to this pin, and again it's stretching all the way across. And now finally you're taking another white band, doubling it. This is moving over in that clockwise direction to that next pin, and it's stretching all the way across that middle pin and down. So that's what it's going to look like. And now we need to add one more layer of white. So this time we're going to outline the circle of the baseball. So you're going to start here in the center, and you're going to work in a clockwise direction, just working around this circle. Always you want to push down. Make sure that your bands are staying in the same order on the pin as what we're placing them. So we're just going to follow it around till we get back to the start. And now if you look at your pins, the ones that have the red on here, on the sides, there are the 2 red bands, the band that we doubled. And then in the middle, you're going to have 2 white bands. That's another band that we doubled. And then the 2 white bands on the top. So what we're interested in grabbing is this white band in the center, these 2 bands that we had doubled. So you're going to put your hook in from the outside. We're always working from the outside. Grab these 2 white bands and pull them over the top and into the middle. And you just want to make sure that these upper white bands do not come off when you do that. And now I'm just going to move up to the next pin. Again, from the outside, I'm grabbing this doubled band, pulling both of them over the top here. And now up here we just have the 2 white bands here on the bottom. Again, you're ignoring the red bands for now. Pulling this over the top. And now we're going to flip to the other side. Again, you want these 2 white bands in the center, pulling it over the top. Again, the next 2 white bands, you're always grabbing it from the outside and over. And then finally back down here, you want the 2 white bands and pull it over. And then you're going to push all of this down, because we're going to add another layer of white. Doing that same thing, we're starting in the center, and we're just going to go around the circle in a clockwise direction. And then we're back to the start here. And then once again, you have that same scenario. You have the red bands on the bottom, which we're not doing anything with. Then you have 4 white bands. We want those 2 middle bands. Grab them both at once and pull it over the top. Again, you're always grabbing from the outside of the circle and moving it over the top and into the middle. And flip to the other side, getting those 2 center bands, 2 white bands. And then finally, back down here. And now what we want to do is get the red bands to come over as well. So I'm just going to go here from all of these pins and get that red to come off. That's going to make it go in the middle of the baseball. Going to do the same thing on the other side here, so that now it's in the middle. And that's all we need to do for that baseball. Push all of this down. And now we're just going to move up to the next baseball. So from the center here, you want to go to the next pin we're going to skip, and then go to that next pin that again is going to be the bottom of the baseball. So here's the circle. And we want to take a red band. You're going to double it. And again, it's going to go around this middle pin and also these next 2 pins. So I'm going to start it on the top, stretch it all the way down here, and then also include it over that pin in the center row. Take the next red band and repeat. This time we're going to go on the other half of the baseball. So I'm just moving to this next pin over, stretching it all the way down, and then also across that middle pin. And then I'm going to do the white bands. These first 3, again, we're doubling. It's going to go from the center pin and stretch over to the second pin over in the middle. And now I'm going to take my next band and double it, moving in a clockwise direction to that next pin up. It's going to stretch across the middle. And then finally, the next pin over. It's stretching all the way down across that middle. We want to push this all down. And now we can start putting the bands on that are going to outline the circle. So from the middle, just going to go around in that clockwise direction. And then back to the start. And then once again we want the 2 white bands in the middle to come off. It's that doubled band. So you're pulling it from the outside and over the top, making sure that these 2 white bands on top stay on. Since this band is doubled, it is tight and it does tend to want to make these top ones come off and take it with it when it goes over. You don't want that to happen. Flip to the other side. And again, we're always grabbing from the outside over. And then finally, here at the bottom, push this all down. Now we'll add another layer of the white, starting in the middle and outlining here. And then coming back around the other side. And back to the start. And then once again, we want to remove the 2 white bands in the center. You're not doing anything with the red until the very end. Just pulling them over the top. And now on the other side. Making sure that the top ones stay on. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get them separated. And then also we're going to do the red. So I'm just going to release this from all of the pins. And now the other side as well. And then push this all down again. And then we have just one more baseball to do. So from the center row, we're skipping the next pin and then going to that next one. Again, this is the bottom part of the baseball, the circle's right there. And so we're taking the red and doubling it, and it's going to go around these 3 pins. So I'm going to start at the top, go all the way down, and then also go around that middle. I'm going to double this red band, go to that next pin over, come all the way to that other row at the bottom and go across the middle. And so now it's time to do the white. Remember, we're doubling the white, just the first 3 white, starting in that middle and stretching all the way over. 2 pins over, skipping that middle. And then double this next one, go clockwise up to that next pin, stretch all the way across the middle, and then one more time, double, go to this next pin, and stretch over that center pin. Push down, and now we're going to do the outlining, starting in the middle. So hopefully you're getting the hang of it by your 3rd baseball here. And now again we want the 2 bands in the center, the 2 white bands, to come out and over the top. They are definitely tight since they're doubled. I'm just going up to the next one here and go around to the other side. And back to the bottom. Push this down. And then one more layer of white. keep following it around. And then we're going to remove that center layer, the 2 white bands in the middle. Just working our way around here. And now same thing here on the other side. And then back down to the bottom. Now we want the red to come off as well. So just make sure the red comes off of all 3 of the pins. And you'll see that it goes into the middle of the baseball, so you'll see that it's right when it's not caught up on anything. And push all of this down. And then what we're going to do is turn the loom around so that the arrows are now facing away from you. And then you're going to take your color that you have for your background. I have black here. Now for this part, we're going to be using 2 bands at once for all of the band placements. So you just want to take 2 of whichever color you're working with, put them both in your hand, and this first placement is going to go from the middle and out to the left. And then I'm just going to work my way up the left side of the loom, always using 2 bands at once. And it's just going to go to that very next pin every time. I'm just going to keep repeating this. And then you want to stop when you're 1 pin short from the end of the loom, and the last set of bands is going to go into that center pin. And you want to make sure that all these are pushed down. And then we're going to go back to the start here, again with the arrows facing away from you. Again, you're taking 2 bands at once. You're starting in the center, and this time you're going out to the right. And then once again, you're just working your way up the right side of the loom, always with 2 bands at once. And then again, you're stopping 1 pin short from the end of the loom, and the last set of bands is going to go into the center. Push that down, and then go back to the start again. And now all we have left to do is the center row. So I'm starting at the bottom here, and I'm just going to put 2 bands on each time and work my way up the middle. And you're going right to the end, to that very last pin. And now you want to turn your loom around so that the arrows are once again facing towards you. And we need to put the cap bands on. So they are going to stretch from the left side of the loom all the way to the right side. And they're also going to go around this center pin. So it's going to make a triangle. And you want to make sure these are all pushed down so you can have room to keep adding the next one. We're just going to do it, work our way up on the very next pin every time. Just keep repeating this triangle pattern. And this is the last one I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it on the very end. And then I'm going to go back to the start once again. And I have 1 more band that I'm going to place. It's going to be on this center pin at the bottom. It's going to be a cap band. So I'm going to double it and then place it right on the very top. And at this point, it's time to start looping the bands. So I will show you on this pin where we're going to start, which is right here in the middle. You have 2 bands on the top, which is the cap band that we just put on. There's 2 bands underneath that go straight forward, and then there's 2 more bands under that that go out to the left, and finally there's 2 at the very bottom that go out and to the right. So what we're going to do is reach down through the middle, push back on the top 2 bands, grab the next 2 bands in line, hold this cap band on with your thumb, and move it forward. Then we're going to go down through, push back on the top 2 again, grab those next 2, hold this in place, and move those out and to the left. And then finally go down through, grab the last 2, bring them up and out to the right. Place them right on the top. And now what I'm going to do is just work my way up one side of the loom. So I will work my way up the left side of the loom, and I'll show you what to do at every step. So on this first pin, you're going to have 4 black bands, or whatever color your main color is. You want to put your hook inside, push back, grab those bottom 2 black bands, and move forward. Now on every one of these next pins, you're going to have this cap band that we placed on. So you're going to have this one single band that's at the top. You always want to make sure when you're going down through that you're in the center of your pin and that this black cap band is behind. You don't want to reach in from back here because it's not going to be right. You want to push back on this cap band. You can see that there is a set of 2 black bands underneath and then 2 white bands under that. So you're going to take your hook, grab just the 2 black bands, pull them up through, and move them forward. Then you're going back down through that center, pushing back on the cap band, getting the 2 white, and moving them forward as well. So I'm just going to show you by doing 2 at once. In theory, you can grab all 4 at once and it will work, but it's a lot tighter and puts a lot more stress on your hook. And so I'm not going to do it that way. You're going to push back on this cap band, grab the next 2 bands, 2 black bands, and move them forward. And now go back down through for the 2 white. And now on this next one, you're going down through and you have just the 2 black. And again, the same thing, push back on that cap band. You have the 2 black to come forward. And now here we're starting another baseball. So you're pushing back, you're getting the 2 black to move up, and now the 2 white as well. You don't want to forget the white or it's going to fall apart when you take it off. This next one, again, we have the 2 black. And then down through we get the 2 white. And now here we're going down, pushing back. We have just the 2 black. And then again, just the black. On this next one, you're going down through. You're getting the 2 black, moving it forward, and then the 2 white. And now we have the same thing again, 2 black, and then 2 white, and finally at the end here there's no cap band, just grabbing those 2 black bands and they're coming into that center row. And now you're going to go back to the start. This time we're going to work our way up the right side of the loom. So we've already done this first band. So we're going to start here next. You're going to be going down through the middle, pushing back on the top 4 black bands, grabbing the bottom 2 black, it's coming out and moving up. And now on the next one here, we have push back on that cap band, there's the 2 black. And then going back down through, there is the 2 white. And now again on this next one, same thing. And now we're going back down here. We have just the two black. And then again. And now here we're to the next baseball. So you're grabbing the two black. And then the white. Go back down for the two white. Now on this next one, we're going down through, we just have the two black. On the next one, again, just the two black. And here we're to the last baseball. You want the two black. And then the white. And then the two white. And this last one you're going down through, grabbing those two black and moving them into the center. And now it's back to the end again. We're almost there. We have just the middle row to do yet. So for this one, you're going to be going down through, pushing back on these top two black bands. You want the bottom two black bands, or the next two. And then at the very bottom you have two white. You're going back down through. Now in the center of this baseball are two black. They should be right on top. You want to make sure that you're only grabbing the two black and not hooking any of that white middle part or red. And now this next one is going to be the trickiest one to do, because it has the two black bands on top, which is easy. You're going to get them first and move them forward. But what happens is you have to get these two white bands, and you can't just grab it from inside because it's looped around the outside of this pin. So what you're going to do is go down through the middle, push out to the side on all of these top black bands. You can see my hook is coming out the side, and you want to grab the two white bands and pull this up, release it from that pin, make sure it stays on your hook, and it's just moving up to the pin above. And then you can move this to the side here so it has room. It's going to lay across this pin, but you can just straddle that pin. And now we're going to continue on. So for this next one we have just the two black, and that's going to lock that white band in place there so it won't come apart. If you do not do this, that white band won't be hooked to anything and it's going to come apart when you take it off. So now we have the two black, and then also the two white. In the middle of this baseball we have just the two black we want. We don't want to hook any other color. And now we're on to this tricky part again. You have the two black, that's easy. And then you have these two white that you need to take your hook, push back a little bit, go out to the side, grab the two white, get it off of that pin, and then just move it forward. And you can get this off of the center of the pin there. And now we're going down through and getting the two black. That's securing that white in place. Again, we have 2 black and then 2 white. In the middle we have just 2 black. And at the end here we have the 2 black on top. This pin is very full at the end, so you want to push that down. Now we're going to grab these 2 white. We're going out to the side, hooking the white, getting it off of that pin and moving it up. And then that is it for the looping. So now instead of taking it off of the loom from the top and pulling it off, I'm going to do it from the bottom, and I'm just going to be carefully going down in through the pins with my hook to release these so that nothing gets stretched out of shape. So I will just start that process. It's just carefully releasing these, especially the ones where the baseball is in the middle of the pin. You have to reach down and pull it out. So I will fast forward here. And now at the end here, I want to make sure I leave the bands on the end pins, and what I'm going to do is reach my hook down through the middle, push it out to the side. I'm going to take another black band, and I'm going to pull it up through here. If I twist my hook around, it doesn't get caught on the other bands. And then put this other end back on so it's secure. Make sure this does not come off of your hook, and then you can remove the last of these bands. And then you can see what your bracelet will look like. So if these red bands are at all separated, you can just play around with them a little bit to get them to be nice and together. So you can see what it looks like here. You can get them how you like them. And you can also stretch it out here a little bit and try and straighten it out a little bit better. If you want to try and squeeze it in a little bit, make the baseballs a little bit more 3D. So that is what it looks like. And you can see it's not very long. If you hold it on your wrist, it's going to cover the top of your wrist, but you definitely need a bunch of extensions. So I will show you how to do that. So what you want to do is take your loom, and you want to have it so the arrows are facing away from you. You're going to start on, I'm going to do it on the right hand side here. Starting on the end, I'm just going to place 4 bands, one after the other. I'm going to be doing 5 bands on each side, so I already have 1 that I have on the end here that is on my hook, so I'm doing 4 more. And then I'm taking this and placing those 2 bands on the end here, this last pin, and putting that on. And now what I want to do is reach down inside and grab that band and pull it back. And just keep repeating that. Just making a single chain here, so it'll be long enough to go around my wrist. And then I'm going to take my hook, put it down through the end here, and I can pull this off. And now I'm going to take a clip. You can use whatever kind of clip you have available. I have an S clip here that I'm just going to put these 2 loose bands on. And now on the other side here, you should have a nice circle right in the middle. I'm going to take another band and place it through here and put it back on my hook. And then once again, I'm going to string 4 more bands on the loom with the arrows facing away from me. And then for this last one here on the end, I'm just going to put this on. Make sure that both of these bands get around here. And now again, I'm just reaching down inside and getting that band and moving it back. And then also I'm going to reach my hook inside, pull this off, and now I can take my clip and put these other two bands through the other end of that clip. And then here is my bracelet. And it has the extension on the back. And here is another bracelet that I made. This one was made using the length of 2 looms, so you can see that it is twice as long. And then I have another one that I made where I switched the colors to white and green, so they would look like tennis balls. So that's another option that you can choose. And then here's that first one. So that is the baseball or tennis ball bracelet. I hope that everyone was able to follow along with the video and didn't find it too challenging. It's definitely a more advanced tutorial, but I think the end result turns out pretty cool. You can always leave me comments on YouTube or Facebook, or feel free to send me pictures of your creations on my Facebook page, and sign up for my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest or Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.